is why so many have lost faith in our system. Because the system really is rigged.
They are busy attacking ordinary people. They don't understand what it's like to have to fight to cover the cost of childcare.
When's the last time you heard Donald Trump talk about healthcare or childcare? That's what Senator Ossoff asked a cheering crowd in Atlanta last week. The answer? Never, because billionaires don't worry about prescription costs or daycare fees.
Anything that matters to our daily lives. When is the last time you even heard Donald Trump talk about healthcare or childcare?
Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski was caught on hot mic asking how did this happen after Democrats unleashed a new aggressive strategy exposing GOP elitism. The party that claims to love the working class just got caught with their $60 billion pants down. If you're tired of the same old political games, you're about to see exactly how Democrats are flipping the script, and it's about damn time. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Did you know Trump's cabinet is worth a staggering $60 billion? That's like your entire neighborhood winning the lottery 1,000 times over, and then buying a small country. While Trump loves to yell about draining the swamp, Senator Jon Ossoff recently pulled back the curtain on what's really happening with Trump's so-called populist movement.
$60 billion. That's not even including Elon. They are literally the elites they pretend to hate.
In a fiery speech that had Republicans squirming in their seats, Ossoff pointed out the giant elephant in the room. Trump's cabinet is packed with the very elites they pretend to hate. It's like claiming you're fighting against vampires while hiring Dracula as your head of security. These ultra-rich cabinet members wouldn't recognize a grocery store checkout line if it bit them on their designer-suited behinds. Think about it. How can someone worth billions understand what it's like to choose between filling your gas tank or filling your prescription? They can't. And here's the kicker. They don't even want to try.
This is why things don't work for ordinary people. It's not because of trans kids or woke college students.
Trump's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick actually said the quiet part out loud when he declared, "We should absolutely not make government officials more empathetic to the concerns of the American people." Well, thanks for the honesty, I guess. That's like a doctor saying, "I don't want to understand your pain, just give me your insurance card." The wealth gap between Trump's billionaire buddies and regular folks is so massive it's hard to comprehend. While the average American household has a net worth of about $120,000, Trump's cabinet members are roughly 500,000 times wealthier. That's not a gap, that's the Grand Canyon with a few planets thrown in for good measure. And what does our former golfer-in-chief do while regular Americans are struggling with inflation and healthcare costs? He's busy perfecting his swing at Mar-a-Lago. The hypocrisy meter explodes when you realize Trump recently issued an executive order aimed at eliminating the Department of Education because he claims its workers are playing golf instead of working. Talk about projection. That's like a skunk complaining that everyone else stinks. The irony gets even thicker when you look at Trump's attacks on government workers. He's constantly ranting about how they don't show up for work, yet he spent more time on golf courses during his presidency than most people spend at family reunions over their entire lifetime. It's classic Trump. Accuse others of what you're guilty of, just add some extra ketchup and a side of fries.
This is why so many have lost faith in our system. Because the system really is rigged.
What's most revealing about this whole billionaire boys club is how completely disconnected they are from the daily struggles of Americans. When was the last time Trump or any of his wealthy cabinet picks worried about a medical bill, or stayed up at night figuring out how to afford childcare, or wondered if they could stretch their groceries until the next paycheck? Never. That's when. This bizarre reality where billionaires claim to lead a populist movement is starting to crack at the seams. Democrats are finally calling it what it is, a con job of historic proportions. When regular Americans realize they've been sold a fake man of the people costume worn by someone who literally sits on a gold-plated toilet, the jig might finally be up.
But Trump's not unrigging it, he's re-rigging it for himself.
Republicans visibly squirm when Democrats point out the wealth gap between GOP leadership and the voters they claim to represent. It's like watching someone try to explain why they were found in a Ferrari while claiming to be broke. The math simply doesn't add up, and voters are beginning to notice the fuzzy arithmetic. While Republicans are busy explaining away their luxury lifestyles, they're quietly labeling your grandparents as criminals. That fuzzy arithmetic we talked about gets even fuzzier when it comes to Social Security. Elon Musk, potential member of Trump's billionaire cabinet and a man who makes more money while sleeping than most Americans make in a lifetime, has the audacity to call Social Security a Ponzi scheme. Easy to dismiss a program millions depend on when your bank account has more zeros than a math textbook. Senator Raphael Warnock didn't mince words during his fiery Atlanta speech about this disconnect. When he quoted Kendrick Lamar saying, "They not like us," he wasn't just dropping lyrics for style points. He was dropping truth bombs about how completely out of touch Trump's billionaire pals are with regular Americans struggling to survive.
They are busy attacking ordinary people. They don't understand what it's like to have to fight to cover the cost of childcare.
And speaking of being out of touch, let's talk about Howard Lutnick, Trump's Commerce Secretary pick. This guy actually said, and I'm not making this up, that people who complain about not receiving their Social Security checks are fraudsters making the loudest noise. Yes, that's right. The same billionaire boys club that struggles to understand grocery shopping now thinks your elderly relatives are running a scam when they expect the money they've paid into the system their entire lives. Lutnick didn't stop there. He doubled down with this gem. If Social Security didn't send out their checks this month, my mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining. So according to Lutnick, if your 94-year-old mother doesn't get the Social Security check she's legally entitled to and desperately needs for food and medicine, she should just shut up and starve quietly. Only criminals would have the nerve to ask for what they're owed. While Republicans claim to care about government efficiency, Senator Warnock pointed out how Trump's team has actually made Social Security offices harder to access, cutting phone services and forcing month-long waits for in-person appointments. Try explaining to your grandma why she needs to wait a month to sort out her missing check when her rent is due next week. This isn't inefficiency, it's deliberate sabotage of a system millions of Americans rely on, and the contrast couldn't be clearer. While Trump's billionaire buddies call Social Security recipients fraudsters, Democrats are fighting to protect and expand these essential programs. It's literally a battle between people who count their money in billions and struggle to understand why you'd complain about a missing $1,500 check versus those who recognize that for millions of Americans, that check is the difference between eating and going hungry, between medicine and suffering. So what's the real reason Republicans want to gut these programs? Is it because they truly believe Social Security is unsustainable? Or is it because they and their ultra-wealthy donors have never relied on these programs and see them as unnecessary expenses cutting into potential tax cuts for the rich? When someone worth billions calls a program millions of Americans have paid into their entire working lives a Ponzi scheme, it tells you everything about whose interests they represent, and it's not yours.
None of this is on the administration's agenda. They just do not care. They do not care.
While Republicans distract voters with manufactured culture wars about Dr. Seuss books and Mr. Potato Head, Democrats are highlighting the everyday struggles Americans actually care about. Healthcare costs that force people to choose between medicine and food, prescription drug prices that have seniors cutting pills in half, childcare expenses that consume entire paychecks, and yes, the Social Security benefits that millions of retirees earned through decades of hard work. The math is simple. Either you believe Americans deserve the Social Security benefits they've paid for, or you think they're fraudsters for expecting what they've earned. There's no middle ground here, and voters are beginning to see through the charade. When billionaires who've never worried about paying bills start calling your grandmother a criminal for expecting her Social Security check, the mask of populism slips to reveal the true face of elitism. The mask of elitism isn't just wearing thin, it now has an actual price tag attached. Senator Ossoff recently dropped a bombshell that puts everything in perspective. Dinner with Trump at Mar-a-Lago costs a staggering $5 million.
Dinner with the president at Mar-a-Lago is on sale for just $5 million.
That's right. While they're calling hardworking Americans fraudsters for expecting their Social Security checks, they're literally selling access to power for more money than most people will earn in their entire lifetime. Talk about having your gold-plated cake and eating it too. This isn't just some rumor or exaggeration. Senator Ossoff laid it all out in plain English during his fiery speech. The ultra-wealthy can literally buy a seat at Trump's table for the price of a small neighborhood. And what exactly are they buying? Not just some overcooked steak with ketchup. They're purchasing influence, access, and friendly policies that keep their bank accounts fat while yours stays on a strict diet.
Senator Ossoff again talking about how MAGA doesn't give a crap about ordinary people. Let's play it.
Or what it's like to try to figure out how to afford groceries, even the price of a dozen eggs.
And if you thought the $5 million dinner special was bad, wait till you hear about the family discount package. The entire Trump dynasty is cashing in faster than a game show contestant. Jared Kushner's investment firm somehow managed to secure a whopping $2 billion from the Saudi royal family. Senator Ossoff couldn't help but crack a joke about this massive payday, saying Hunter Biden should have been more ambitious in his international business ventures.
Investment firm got $2 billion from the Saudi royal family. Like, Hunter Biden should have been more ambitious.
When politicians start making jokes, comparing influence peddling operations, you know we've entered a whole new level of corruption. Now, you might be wondering, why should I care about billionaires throwing money at each other? Well, Senator Ossoff connected those dots perfectly. The corruption is why you pay a fortune for prescriptions. The corruption is why your insurance claim keeps getting denied.
Corruption is why you pay a fortune for prescriptions. The corruption is why your insurance claim keeps getting denied.
Own constituents, we're now seeing Democratic leaders stand up and fight for the people. We're actually seeing Democratic fighters.
That's the part they don't want you to understand. This isn't just rich people being rich. It's rich people buying policies that directly hurt your wallet and well-being. Think about it. Why does your prescription cost more than your car payment? Why do insurance companies deny your legitimate claims? Why can hedge funds swoop in and buy every house in your neighborhood, driving up prices while Congress sits on its hands? It's all connected to the same corruption network. The $5 million dinner isn't just an expensive meal, it's an investment in keeping things exactly the way they are for the ultra-wealthy. While the rest of us struggle, Bernie Sanders has been hammering this point home at packed events across the country. More than 87,000 people have shown up at just 5 recent events to hear him deliver a simple but powerful message. America is wealthy enough to solve these problems. We have the resources. What we lack is a political system that works for everyone instead of just the highest bidders. The corrupt relationship between big money and policy creates a direct pipeline from your pocket to the bank accounts of the ultra-wealthy. When pharmaceutical companies can spend millions on lobbying, or perhaps a special dinner at Mar-a-Lago, they can block legislation that would cap drug prices. When insurance giants can buy influence, they can ensure their profits keep soaring while your claims keep getting rejected. When real estate investment firms have the ear of lawmakers, they can prevent any regulation that might slow down their neighborhood buying sprees. Democrats are finally connecting these dots for voters in clear, unmistakable terms. It's not just about abstract concepts like corruption or influence. It's about why your grandmother has to choose between medicine and food this month. It's about why your family can't afford to buy a home in the neighborhood where you grew up. It's about why your health insurance seems to cover everything except what you actually need. The Republican response to these direct attacks on their corrupt system.
The president is not at his palace in Florida thinking about whether you can afford daycare for your daughter, or how to stop insurance companies from denying your claim, or
mostly confusion and deflection. They're simply not used to Democrats fighting back so directly, calling out the price tags on access to power, and making the connections between corruption and everyday American struggles so crystal clear. As Democrats find their fighting spirit, Senator Ossoff's words in Atlanta couldn't be more clear. Georgia will bow to no king. That line got the crowd fired up, and it perfectly captures what's happening right now. Regular folks are done with the billionaire takeover of our government. Meanwhile, Republicans like Lisa Murkowski are walking around looking confused, wondering how we ended up in a world where we're picking fights with Canada while cuddling up to Russia. Gee, I don't know, Lisa, maybe because your party decided to follow a guy who thinks gold toilets are normal. The battle lines are being redrawn. It's not about Democrat versus Republican anymore. It's about whether you think a handful of ultra-rich dudes should run everything or whether regular people deserve a say. Democrats are finally calling this out, and you can bet Trump's billionaire buddies aren't happy about it. The party of elites is getting exposed, and they don't like being seen without their everyday American costume on.